The root of all successful sleepers, infant, child, teenager, adult, is healthy sleep hygiene. And I'm not sure if any of you have heard that term, but really what that's referring to is good, clean habits around sleep. So let's walk through what that looks like. So the first thing is a steady bedtime. Now, if your child's bedtime is 7, it doesn't mean that at 7:02 they must be sleeping or else they have poor sleep hygiene. But typically there's a range. Let's say somewhere between 7 and 7:30 might be applicable for some, or maybe somewhere between 7:30 and 8, or 8 and 8:30, depending on the necessary sleep schedule for the child. Most children between the ages of 3 and 5 are comfortable going to bed somewhere between 6:30 and 8, depending on, I would even say 6:30 and 8:30, depending where they're at in terms of their nap. So if a 3-year-old is still napping, that would be, they would warrant likely an 8:30 bedtime. If a 3-year-old has newly dropped their nap, then they would probably need more like a 6:37 bedtime. And once they've comfortably dropped the nap, it's typically for 3 to 5-year-olds, it's typically in the 7 to 7:30, some by 8, depending on their family's schedule. But really, the point is consistency, predictability. So, a consistent bedtime routine, a consistent sleep schedule. So, that's referring to whether or not they're napping. And it's also encompassing predictable and consistent wake time. So, um, our bodies are at our best when we have a rhythm to them, and when we allow our circadian rhythms, our internal alarm clocks, to do the work that they need to do. And that really happens with consistency and with predictability and a routine. Avoiding caffeine, it's typically not a problem in kids this age. Limiting electronics before bed, 30 to 60 minutes before bed. Ideally 60 minutes, but in many homes that's not possible, especially if there's one parent taking care of multiple siblings. And so I certainly say 30 minutes before bed. All electronics should be put away. A healthy, consistent, predictable bedtime routine that's compatible with good sleep. So, we'll go ahead in a moment and talk about what a good bedtime routine looks like. But really, the idea is for it to be predictable and consistent every night. Even if there's fluctuation in the timing of bedtime, the same series of steps done every night or almost every night really cues the body nicely for sleep. And then finally, sleep conducive environment. So many 3 to 5-year-olds are very particular in the way that they want to sleep. They want the door open just so. They want the light settings that are adjusted just so. Overhead lighting is never a good idea. Darkness enhances the production of melatonin, or it increases the production of melatonin. So melatonin is a hormone that our brains naturally release, and it's involved in initiating and maintaining sleep. And it's really determined by our circadian rhythm, by that internal alarm clock that I was referring to before. So it's, determined by that. It's determined by the number of hours since we last slept. And it's also brought on by darkness. So if, there's a 4-year-old child, for example, who's afraid of the dark, the solution would not be to have overhead lighting. A low level night light that's compatible with sleep, that's not projecting stars or making noises or anything like that, just a simple light source in an outlet, is certainly warranted and can be very helpful for many children in the 3 to 5-year-old age range. That brings us to the optimal sleep environment. So we spoke about darkness. Quiet is important. Parents often ask me about white noise or a sound machine. For 3 to 5 year olds, we're really looking for noise cancellation. We're not looking for the benefit white noise to mimic the womb or a mother's heartbeat. We're not looking for it at this age. If children have slept with it their whole lives and parents themselves like to sleep with white noise, then I would say most likely, the kids, that's a dependency for the child. There's been a lot of research to show that the way in which parents sleep is similar to the way in which their children sleep, meaning like, how they're dressed, if they like socks on or socks off, if they sleep on their sides versus their stomachs, their backs, their positioning. It's really, the research shows that it's really closely linked to the way in which children sleep. So that's why I say that if parents, tell me that they need a fan, and when they go on vacation, they bring their little fan with them because they can't sleep without it, and they have a sound machine in their kids' room, then I just don't touch it. And I say, perfect, like chances are they want that too. But if parents are, using it on or off and the kids really not so into it, I often recommend that parents go and put it in the hallway if they're looking for noise cancellation. Perhaps they're being, they want the freedom to talk, outside the child's room, or perhaps there's another sibling. So we take the sound machine and we put it in the hallway to cancel out any noise. Also, same bed every night. Now, this, to some who don't have that problem, that's a given. To others who have the problem of bed hopping, it's not so much a given, and it needs to be pointed out that I know for myself, if I go on vacation, although it feels like it's been forever since any of us have been on vacation, but I know that when I go on vacation, the best part about coming home is that first night in your own bed. So we have a lot of strong sleep associations, and our bed is really number one. So it's important to think of that for our children, that they go to sleep in the same bed every single night. And then also, cool side of comfortable. Oftentimes, when I check in with parents, the temperature in their children's room is just too high. We're really looking for 18 to 20 degrees Celsius as the optimal temperature.